And we are live. So hello again, guys. Apologies for anyone who missed out last week. I actually seen someone complaining in one of the YouTube comments that they were looking forward to the show, and we I had shit connection, so I didn't want to come on and fuck it all up.
That plus nursing a hangover.
Yeah,
never easy.
I was pretty much getting vodka poured down my neck at the time as well, so it was hard work. But we're back again with Mr. Brad Maybury, Mike Pierce, and Marco, who is the entity. What did we call it again? The entity.
I call it entity-based worryless SEO.
Yes, so yeah, that entity-based worryless SEO.
AKA a mouthful.
And we, in the past few weeks, we've heard Mike, I think it was you that referred to entities a number of times. And people are always asking, what do you mean by entity? What the hell is an entity? Give us some tips on this stuff. So Marco, for the audience out there, first of all, tell us a bit about your background, Marco, and where you're from and what you actually do.
Sure. I live in Costa Rica, but I don't know if you can see, but drifting off into the light. It's bright and sunny. These are my mornings, right? These are my mornings. Every morning, this is what it is. This is where I live. I call this my fortress of solitude, right? My base. Because we call it working towards POFU, and we got that from that movie, The Gambler, shitty movie. Great quote, which is. And I don't know like how far I could go. I have a potty mouth, dude. So if I have to say,
you're good
let
company,
me know.
Bro.
So it's position of fuck you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we call it. It's POFU. So what we're working towards is being to the point where if someone comes at you, no matter how much money they throw at you, you're in a position to say, no, man, I don't need you. You're a fucking headache. Fuck off.
Love it.
That's where we want to be. So how is it that we get there? My journey started 17 years ago, nearly. Almost, well, no, more than that. Almost 18, and I've been around this for a while.
You're old.
Yeah, man. And I just got this by circumstance, because I started in programming, done just a whole bunch of shit. At a party, somebody had a directory a long time ago that they wanted more traffic. They heard that I had a programming background, then they asked me, hey, man, can you help me? I had nothing better to do. So I said, yeah, sure, I can help. I didn't even know what SEO stood for. But I said yes.
Still don't.
And so here we go, circle now 17 years later. And what I do simply is results-based SEO. When I take on a client, like we will never talk SEO. We will never talk how I do it unless you pay me like an indecent amount of money for me to tell you how I get results. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get you results. And usually it's a trial that I start out with, a 90-day trial, where I need to get to know the person to see if we can get along. Because I want to be able to fire the client just like I want the client to be able to fire me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I can't get along with you, I don't care how much money you have. I can't have you be a pain in my neck. I can't have you be a worry in my life because I don't need you. You need me. And so I'm going to get your results. At the end of 90 days, we'll circle back. We'll take a look at everything. If you're happy, we go on. And if you're not happy, then fine. But this is the way I like to do things. I don't sign contracts ever unless they're required. But like the bigger companies, you have to have a contract. I realize that. Right, so I'll get my legal and their legal, and it takes forever, but the money's really good and they leave you alone. Here's the thing about this insane industry that we're in. The less the client pays you, the more hand-holding and the more work that you have to do, the more explaining, because they think they know everything. They've been fucked so many times because they only paid $300 that they will be like the worst client and they'll be in your direct messages, and they'll be SERP watching, and it's I mean, the worst thing it can be. Whereas the bigger the company, the more monolithic it is, the more time it takes to get through everything. So you're 6 months into the project, and they're still trying to approve a name change, and that check is coming because it's not you, and you're making sure in your emails, like every month, and in your meetings, I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for your legal, and it's a check. It's a steady check. They pay. It's beautiful. However, to get to that point, you got to start somewhere. I understand. You got to start with those $250, $300 a month clients, but eventually you got to get off that. If you show results, you're going to be able to set your own price, right? And so the way that you get results is by finding, well, what do you call it? You have to get a process in place, right? And your process has to be such that it can be repeated by anyone, so that you can bring in people to help you, so that you're not your own bottleneck, right? We all of us know this, that the bottleneck in our business is us if we're in the middle of everything, like trying to juggle everything, have our fingers in everything. We need a repeatable process that anyone can come in and do and apply for whoever it is that you bring in. It doesn't matter if it's $500 or $50,000 a month, they're going to get results because the process is in place to get results. And then the way that I've come, I mean, in this 17 years is by realizing since 2011, when Google came out and said things, not strings, that it's all up, and listen to this, it's all about math. Fuck all this other shit you're hearing. Content is king, and it's this and it's that, and we have to do this and we have to do it. It's numbers. It's a set of numbers. It's binary code in a computer. Think of it this way, right? You have a computer, Craig, where you are, and I have a computer. If we need to communicate each other, how in the fuck are we going to get to each other?
Meet in Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the vodka being forced down your throat. But no, it's true. And that's why I've always enjoyed Marco. Marco and I think the first thing we worked on was alpha testing social explosion together. Wasn't that the first thing we ever did together, man?
Very first thing, man.
And that led to some damn good conversations. And I absolutely believe that Marco's influence has helped me evolve into who I am. And hopefully I've helped him in some ways as well. But it's been a damn pleasure. And it's fun to have him on because, you know, we are NFG. He got his POFU attitude. It really fits the way you look at it. Because when Marco says legal, you know, when you're dealing with a company that has 13 attorneys employed, you might be getting paid for a month or 2 or 3 without having to do a damn thing because you're just redlining contracts with them. You know, you might be doing that for 6 months beforehand, but that 6 months beforehand pays off when you're doing nothing for 3 months and getting paid a freaking 5-6 figure check every month, right? So absolutely. And Marco, I think Marco's the first person that truly publicized all this crap everyone does. You know, they have their names for it, but Marco was the first person I saw take that Google Drive as a platform and really turn it into serious damn ranking. I mean, Marco's the first person I ever saw do it. Still does it better than anyone I've ever seen do it. So it's fun to have you on, man. It's 17 years now, huh?
Yeah, man. It's been a while. Yeah.
It's a long
End
time.
of 2003. End of 2003 is when I was at the party and the guy said, "Hey, man, can you help me?" And here I am. It's been a fun ride. I can't say that I've always had success. I mean, there's been downtime. There's been times when you're like, "Holy shit, what the fuck do I do now?" It's a lot of hard lessons to learn, right? But each one, the way that I see it is, each one is a stepping stone, right? Each failure, each time you fall flat on your face, it's a stepping stone to success. I've always dealt positively with failure, and it's one of the things that I teach when I do consultations. Is failure is only absolute if you accept it 100%. As an absolute, right? Otherwise, it's just a way not to do the shit that you've been trying to do. You got to figure out another way to do it.
Yeah, no,
you know, and you can fail your way to success as well. So I was wondering right now, what's your favorite way to rank right now, man? What are you doing?
I'm doing the same thing I've always done. Iframes, links. dude, I'll go back to what I was saying with Craig and the computer. The way that we're going to communicate, that my computer is going to communicate with yours. I don't give a fuck what I'm typing. I don't care if it's voice, video, whatever the fuck it is. We have to go through a link, man. We have to go through a URL. We have to go through an IP. We have to go through servers. And that's what makes the connection. It's not my computer and yours. We have to go through a set of servers. Think of Google that way. So Craig's Google, and I'm trying to access Google. The only way that I can do that is through a damn link. And the only way that Google can come to me, Craig being Google, is through a link. If there's no link, then there's nothing.
But I thought link building would die, Marco. Isn't it going away?
Of course, yeah, of course it is. Yeah. And SEO is dead, and Drive is dead, and we should all just go hide under the bed and all bow down to almighty Google. That's your attitude. I mean, why live in this space in the first place? Why try to work in this space in the first place, man? If you don't know the basic concepts, right? The basic concepts of the web have remained the same no matter what Google has tried to do, because the algorithms are still basically the same. They look at links. They may look at them differently, but they're looking at links, man. They're looking.
So that's the reason I asked you, is because I talked to Brad about it and Craig about it. I haven't changed the way I do SEO for a very long time. I don't think you have either, have you? Do you have to chase this thing, right? I mean, go ahead.
All right, so what I have changed is different, maybe approaches, but the foundational principles have remained the same. I don't think that we're doing anything different. We can still spam, and I know spam tends to be a dirty word. Sorry, but not in my book. I still spam the shit out of Google. I still manipulate the shit out of Google, just like I was doing in 2004 when I finally understood what this SEO. Well, when I started to understand what this SEO thing was about. It was about links, and it was about building links, and as many as possible. And like the best way that I figured out how to do links was through iframes. Like listen to this. I would iframe the New York Times newspaper on a subdomain on a client site, just spam the crap out of it. And with just a little CSS magic, I would overlay my links on that New York Times. Of course, it would have.
Well, that's the thing is trust. I call it trust jacking. So I used to use press releases and just drop press, and then have people hit my subs, think that they're on Yahoo, and now they're getting a CPA offer from Yahoo. So it's very trustworthy, right?
Yes.
So iframes are amazing from so many standpoints, because we all love retargeting too, right? We're not even have to talk about the SEO aspects of them to actually realize that iframes are freaking amazing. No matter what you do with them, they do many things. Really quick, I wanted to drop a little bit of info to people. If you're working SEO this week, watch the volatility in your market, because today I'm seeing a damn near 70% volatility. So it might not be the best time for you to do on-page updates and shit like that. But that's just a really quick notice. I like to drop one every week. But so we're going to get into iframes. I remember, I think I was talking to Cotton on one of his, it was like November, it was Thanksgiving. I remember I was in LA. And I mentioned, yeah, exactly, dude. I mentioned stuffing iframes, and what was funny is because it wasn't a new thing, right? But it went crazy on the internet, and it was for a little bit, 4 or 5 months, and it went away. And then I've heard a lot of talk recently about more iframes, but I wanted to make a point is when Marco and I and Brad and Craig are saying that this stuff doesn't change, a lot of these things that are brand new that people are finding today. People found them 6, 7, 8 years ago, and they found them 6, 7, 8 years before that as well. So when you do get those basics down, when you get your on-page, your off-page, and your tech down, once you have that, you're in shape to run your campaigns forever. And edges, links, whatever the hell you want to call them, will never go away. No matter what happens, Marco is 100% spot on. There will always be a need for clever architecture when it comes to clusters of pieces of content on the internet. So I don't care if they're indexing it. I don't care if they show it in their index. They do not listen to what you tell them to do through directives. They ignore what they want when they want, and they always will. So I think one of the first conversations Marco and I had, we can talk about transparency today, Marco, because that goes back a long way with you and I. Brad and I have always done a hell of a lot of network stuff. We do a lot of site spam, but on the top level, I want it to be transparent and look pristine. It's a bride in white on her wedding day, you know? And that's one thing that you need to take away from today, is that you want the transparency and you want that bride in white at the top of your network or your link building, however you're doing it. Your links can be dirty as crap underneath. They can look ugly, not look like anything. Build some links for your clients if you need to, so you have something to present, but make it look pretty on the top. So I guess let's talk about maybe something, Brad or Marco or Craig, what's something you've done to pretty up some of the power that you've pushed underneath some of your properties?
Brad, do you want to go first?
Can you hear, Brad?
What we've done to push power underneath our property?
No, what you've done to
edit.
find it or to deliver something.
I mean, niche edits work.
Yeah, edits work extremely well.
I mean, you can do all the drive stuff. You can do the entity stuff, and then come behind that with power. You can take their current tier 1, and you can power that up immediately. But I mean, what we've done in the past is the guest post type stuff, you know, and then you submit them the links from that, and then they don't know behind that, or in addition to that is the edits that actually are really pushing it.
Beauty. So quality is a good topic, right? Quality. What is quality to Google, Marco? Is quality does it look great, or what makes quality in Google's eyes?
I don't even consider quality, man. What I look at is link relevance. I mean, it has to be relevant, but it has to be relevant to Google. We can talk 6 degrees of separation, the Kevin Bacon game, where I can relate something. 1 will relate to 2, will relate to 3, 4, 5. 1 doesn't relate to 6, but it's related because 5 relates to it, and 5 relates to 4. So you can make the transfer that way. The distance graph, people are flying blind. How in the fuck can you fly a jet plane blind? Right? You put blindfolds on. Yeah, I understand. You got the autopilot and all that shit, but eventually someone is shooting at you. You have to have a way to shoot back. You have to have a way to see what the hell is going on. People ignore the distance graph, and it was, you had the original 2015, then it was updated 2 years later. It was updated for a reason, guys. There's a distance graph that tells you how many hops before you lose authority and trust. Right? That's what we're talking about. But not the shitty metrics or those vanity metrics that you get from other websites. We're talking about trust and authority when it comes to Google. What does Google consider trusted and authoritative? And if you're not looking at the distance graph, then you're fucking up everything that you're doing, because it only matters what Google sees. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what the expert thinks. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. At the end of the day, it's that binary code, that set of zeros and ones that translates to trust and authority, or it translates to garbage. And if you're doing garbage, you have to find a way to have Google see it as relevant. The way that we do it is we push everything through our drive stacks and our G sites and through our iframes. And guys, I don't recommend that you do this, please. If it's something that you care about, don't go and do this shit. But I've run 1 million links, GSA, unfiltered. So we're talking about porn and some of the nastiest garbage that you can possibly think about. Through a drive stack, through iframes, through the G site. Have it come out in the link profile, index links, in the link profile as porn, and it's ranking #1 to this day. For the top market level keyword, and we're talking about, and I'll say it here, DC plumber. I'll say it right here, DC plumber. Go look it up. It's a G site. It doesn't work, by the way. People keep saying shit doesn't work. Go look at it. Go look at it. Go watch it be #1 for whatever the fuck it is you're looking for. DC plumber. 1 million garbage link, GSA. Just recently, someone in our RYS Academy Reloaded group went and redid it, but they went a step further. They didn't do it themselves. They got a Fiverr gig, 1 million links through Fiverr. and increase traffic 85% month to month. Now, why don't I recommend that you go get a Fiverr gig? Because if it's a client, you're fucking with that person's livelihood. You're fucking with the way that person makes money. You don't want to do that. What's the lesson behind this? If garbage links, if total spam, kitchen sink spam works, imagine if you tier your links and the link building that you're tiering is relevant, and it's relevant to the niche. How much better is that going to work than if you push garbage? Trust me, jackhammer SEO, brute force SEO is alive and well right now. You can do it right now, but you have to mitigate the risk, and you have to mitigate how much you're going to put, how much risk you're going to put your client's livelihood into, right?
And that's a good point, Marco. Golden handcuffs came up on Search Engine Roundtable. And if you guys don't know what golden handcuffs, what I mean is, doing something in your marketing process or your client work where you're trapping that client to be with you. Say you're doing something where you own their domain, right? And now when they want to leave, you're threatening them with the fact that you own their domain, right? So be a good SEO. If you're working for other people and you're not doing lead gen, now what Mark was talking about, he has a damn place in lead generation and call sales. But if you're doing SEO for someone else, don't be a dickhead to a small business owner. And don't be a dickhead to a large corporation because they'll sue your ass. So
yeah, they'll get the domain. Yeah,
exactly, dude. So watch yourself with the large people and be a good shepherd with the small people. Take care of them and do not screw with small business, right? So they posted on Search Engine Roundtable that somebody was trying to leave and this happens all the time. I hear it all the freaking time. Somebody's trying to leave an SEO, so the SEO takes ownership of the listing and gets the website removed, right? So do not harm your clients. If you do not know what you're doing, don't go grab a whole bunch of even just edits that are like, don't grab them edits underneath your crap, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get yourself in trouble, right? That's why you go somewhere and buy it from somebody instead of trying to be a dickhead and do it yourself, right? So just be good to these small business owners, please. They deserve respect, and you should take them, and you will make so much more money with them than trying to take advantage of them. So just stay away from screwing them.
I think that's obviously a common story we hear all the time. It's just the guy owns the website and the client can't get it back from that guy. And, I just think, as you say, harming another man's business that he's worked hard for and puts your family's table from is, it's a dangerous game is what we play here. And obviously in the wrong hands, a lot of damage can be done to a lot of people. So wise words.
Yeah, no, it's very, very, very true. And on the iframe topic, Marco, what about two-way relevance and two-way trust flow?
Well, it has to be, right? We're talking about seed sites and seed sets where they feed off one another. This is why iframes are so good. We've taken an iframe. No content, just a G site. Drive stack, no content on that page except the embedded iframe, and we've ranked it for we've outranked the company that we iframe for the product. So what does that tell you about this iframe and about what you just said about that relevance flowing back and forth, about the trust and authority flowing back and forth? And not only that, in your G site, if you run it through any validator, the schema for the other company will come up. And so will everything else for the other company come up. So think about this. Google is going and reading it into your website and giving you it's almost like co-authority, co-trust, co-relevance. Come on, man. Come on. Look, test. I always tell people, please don't take my word for it. Please.
Observation, action, and determination is SEO, right? Observation, action, and determination. Observe what the hell's going on and then take action on it. And if you fail, if you succeed, modify that action and keep going. And that's your determination. It's a simple cycle. And Marco's 100% correct. Don't ever take anybody's advice and take what they say as word. Implement it yourself and determine if it works for you. Because I will tell you right now, when I just said 70% volatility, that potentially is only in the markets that I'm tracking, right? That doesn't mean it's in your market. It doesn't mean it's everywhere. Now, there's generic volatility right now, too. That's why I said something. But just because something's going on in my market doesn't mean it's going on in your market. It doesn't mean it's going to work exactly the same. So take it and then start working with it and observe and act. So there was a question about that Craig brought up about tiered link building. I'm actually planning to blast 1 million links on tier 2. I'm just going to say just don't, without any more information. Just don't.
Just don't do that.
No, definitely not. Can we also, just for Randy here, and just basically on what Marco was saying about iframes, Randy's asking, is it an article? Is it a video? What would you normally have in an iframe?
The other person's website.
Right.
Yep.
The other person.
It's kind of like a reverse proxy, or there was a trick with Cloudflare to copy content and actually mirroring the website. And I've been able to take an expired domain many times, mirror someone's site, and outrank them. And it's definitely very possible to do this with iframes and other server-side technology as well, right? So I don't know. I know that in some cases, iframes can contain the way an iframe works in HTML. And I will say my spiel of, if you haven't taken any courses on HTML, go learn how to write HTML. So if you understand these tags, you understand how they work. But an iframe has an opening and a closing tag, and you can put shit inside of it that's going to be on your page that they're not going to see, right? It's not going to render in the browser, but Google's going to be able to crawl that in there, right? So what you put in there can potentially explain what's on that page that you're iframing in, and be very relevant to the page that you've created, right? So you might have a blank page, but you might have a ton of content in it. I don't know. It might work. I don't know.
Yeah, it could, you might get Google to see stuff that you wanted to see on your site that isn't necessarily there, right?
But
exactly.
Guys, hang on a second. Just a word of warning for people. I never build links directly to my money site, ever. Not my stuff, not my client stuff, not anything. Everything goes through what we call the Seo Power Shield, which is anything having to do with our entity at tier 1, or what I call tier 1A, because it's actually tier 2, but since there's activity there also, it relates to tier 1 so well that it kind of brings it into the sphere of T1. My DriveStack and GSite, of course, are not tier 1. They're tier 2 properties, but they are de facto. That's why, as a matter of fact, not by law and not by rule, part of tier 1. So everything happens through that. This is why I call it entity-based, worryless SEO. Since I'm not hitting my client site directly or my website directly, like, I don't worry about Google updates ever. Exactly. I haven't worried about one since the first panda. I forget which furry animal, which feathery animal, black and white animal it was. But ever since then, I have never ever worried. You talk about market volatility, and it's not going to make any difference to me. Like, I understand what people will benefit from that.
And if you are building links here, our process is a little bit different. I typically don't ever build more than 3 or 4 links to a page. I don't, because links, Marco knows, links happen naturally. Your pages will get links to them directly. Yep. And what you don't want to do is be this guy. You don't want to be that guy. And that guy is out there worrying about anchor text ratios, all this freaking headache that has nothing to do with SEO, really, when you come down to what SEO is. They're worried about these ratios, and you don't have to worry about it if you're not manipulating it to the point where you have to worry about it. So you're creating your own freaking problem when you go overboard. So either not building external links and just doing some internal stuff and just regular architecture. I don't mean fancy ninja tricks. I mean building a website, or throwing a couple really nice things at it and letting nature take its course and influencing it that way, because it always is going to be what's talking about you. And if you've been on other shows where we've talked about link building, when Marco says de facto tier 1, when we build a link, you're going to have a link to potentially the homepage, the Facebook page on that. You're going to have it pointing to YouTube. You're going to have the social. This one page might be linking to your, as Marco said, your SEO shield or golden circle or whatever you want to call it. It's going to link to a multiple properties plus yourself, or just multiple properties. And this is going to pull everything up and increase your exposure online and more eyes on your stuff, right? So really, if you're going to take time to build it, again, make it quality. Treat everything like a damn money site, because it's all going to make you money, and it should all make you money. Even the stacks that you're making are making you money. Again, with iframes, building links, if you can control it, put a damn retargeting pixel on the damn page that you built the link on. You know, anytime you can do anything to get more exposure, do it. So,
yeah, I think quality always beats quantity, and you hear a lot of people saying, that shit didn't work, and this didn't work, and that not worked, because they're not treating their entities or their assets properly. As you say, even your G stack is something that you have to nurture and look after, or PBNs or whatever it's going to be. You can't just stick them up and move on and hope for the best. There's got to be a lot more work that goes into them, and use them to obviously scale up your bank account. That's essentially where we want to be at. But yeah, there's a lot of guys agreeing and loving the stuff in the comments here as well. Too many secrets being shared in the last few months.
Well, I want to get into who's noticed the how-to schema popping up more in the SERPs lately. So I want to talk about screen real estate, and why I do like G-stacks and social properties and this kind of stuff is screen real estate's extremely important. And the more screen real estate you can take on that first page of the SERP, the less you're sending traffic to your competitors. So when you start to look at your listing or multiple listings, if you can get multiple listings in a query, go for it. If you can get more volume on the page and take up more real estate with some schema, that's when I start to like schema a lot, is when I can start taking up more real estate, right? If you can get more pages, like say a doc or a G site, whatever you're doing, your Facebook page, if you can take more real estate away from competition, that's what you need to be shooting for. And when you start to build, like what Marco was talking about and how we're talking about backlink pages with multiple links to different properties, you start to build things that take up more screen real estate. So you're pulling in more of that organic traffic from your different organic listings. So it's extremely important to really diversify and round out how you do your marketing and everything. And that will, as you start to do that, if you learn how to do, or honestly, I think it's better to go buy it from somebody. Like if I want to do a drive stack, I'm going to go to Marco personally, because I don't want to take the time to build it myself, and I'm not as good at it as Marco and his team, right? So that's where I'd go. So if you are just starting out, because people are in here talking about our link building, or how to start out and how to go from 0 to 1,000. Look at it like a budget. It's not this mystical SEO science magic crap. It's a business, right? And Brad helped me with that quite a bit, because what's that?
I said it's just a P&L. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a P&L, man. I mean, you're paying for something. It's easier to quantify when you're new if you're buying it than if you're doing it yourself, because you could waste your damn week trying to set up servers and build links with SIR or GSA SIR or whatnot. Or you could have someone
I wasted way too much time.
Yeah, so did I, man.
Servers back in the day.
I didn't need to waste my time with it either, and because I was already doing shit, and it was something I got distracted with. So it leads into not getting distracted when you're starting out. Turn it into a business. Spend the money on what you know will work. Make a plan, and don't just start throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. It's a freaking business, guys and gals. It's not a game. It is money, and it feeds children. It feeds my kids, feeds your kids, it feeds yourself. So don't treat it like it's a freaking game. Treat it like a business. Just because you're working at home in your boxers or whatever doesn't mean it's not a business. Right?
Hey, Mike, is business okay? I know you've lost some weight recently, so are you not eating as much?
No, dude, I haven't been able to make any money, dude. So I haven't been able to buy my turkey meat, bro.
Yeah, I know. That's rough.
It sucks.
So the way I break it down for people, just so it becomes, and I know it might sound simplistic, it's train, apply. make money, but you make money so that you can hire someone to train. You're going to train that someone so that they can come and help you apply and help you make money, lather, rinse, repeat.
That's how you scale. Yeah.
And that's a good point.
Like whittling it all down, that's the way. That's just the way. If you don't hire someone to help you, you're limited in how much you can earn. The more people that you can hire to help you, you're increasing your earning potential by that much, because eventually you should have your own team. There shouldn't be a Marco going and having to go into GSA unless I want to learn GSA, unless I want to learn any of the other tools. That's the only way that you should be in any of this. If not, then you should have someone, even if it's just to post your events in Facebook. That's time that you could be investing in your business to help it grow. You could be out contacting clients. You could be sending emails. You could be doing just so many things to help your business grow, instead of being in that grind day to day. That's simply going to create that bottleneck and limit how much it is that you can earn.
I think for me, the way I see it now, I've had the agency, I've worked like a dick. I've probably watched guys like you, Marco, talk about what you do, and then you go away and spend 5 days pulling my hair out trying to figure it all out. And for me, what I've got is just like a good shopping list of shit.
Yeah.
And I basically just say, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that. Go do it, go do it, go do it. And then fuck off and play with my kids. And for me, that's what life's about. It's not about working hard. You've got the process, you've got the team, you've probably got the automation. Why would I even try and compete with someone like you who's done what you do for all that time? If you're the guy to go to for certain elements of work, whether you're a link builder, whether you're whatever, 100% of all of this bullshit can be outsourced as long as you've got the money to invest. And I think that for me, I would consider myself an investor now. So I'll just invest in different things, different websites, different properties, and make sure that I can scale that stuff up. I don't want to be bogged down with all the crap.
What's funny is the starving artist meme it applies to the starving SEO too, because there's damn good SEOs out there that just sit there all day, work a job. I know a taxi driver that's one of the best damn SEOs I've ever met, but he can't make a dime because he won't work the business side of it and he won't invest in himself. So he might be damn good and he might be able to outrank everyone I know, but he's not making money off of it. And you don't want to be that dude. I'd rather not know the shit. I'd rather do something else and not know that, and invest in it and hire someone like that. If you are an entrepreneur, if you want to make money for yourself, then you are not in SEO solely. You might be damn good at SEO. You might be damn good at Facebook, but you are a business owner first, and you need to look at it from the business standpoint. So when the question comes over, how do you make go from 0 to 1,000 a month, right? Well, look at what Brad put it very perfectly, I think, a few weeks ago when he said, actually, it was in a different show, actually, but Brad was talking about the fact that I know I can get the listing for this much. I know that I will be able to pull in this much after the test. And so once it's tested and you've tested what the products that you're buying, scale that up, right?
Yeah, once you know your market, you can start to scale. And even if you look at the top performing CEOs, like of all time, the people that beat out Jack Welch at GE or anything like that, they're all experts at capital allocation. What can they do to allocate capital as they best they see fit, and then that capital can actually work for you. Do you finance it through debt? Do you have enough cash flow? Do you finance it through the current free cash flow of the company? And luckily in our industry, free cash flow typically is not an issue because the margins are so good once you have it down, right? Like Marco, once you have a site up and running and you've got a fixed cost in the beginning, let's say, how much money do you put it in ongoing? All of it's free cash flow at that point. Maybe CallRail or whoever you use for call tracking. I think that's probably my biggest recurring expense is that. And then any other expense is me trying to figure out how to automate things further down the road. So my biggest capital allocation at the moment is, putting money back into the automation, which then in turn creates more free cash flow. So.
And Marco, go ahead.
Yeah, my suggestion is take a business class. Take some business class. You don't even have to go to college or university. Do it online.
I'm reading this. I don't know if anyone can see it, but The Outsiders, excellent book. I busted through it. You can see. I always use money as the bookmark, but I busted through the majority of it this weekend.
Stay golden, pony boy.
It is extremely good. Yeah, and they talked about top CEOs of all time. They were excellent at capital allocation.
Yeah, learn
Brad, and I think Brad makes a great point. I mentioned a book, the first or second week about link building. Guys, it's not just the internet. Books, freaking A, dude. There's so many things out there that can help you run a better business. So spend your time not only just working, spend your time learning as well. But Brad was mentioning, and Marco had mentioned earlier, and Brad sparked it for me, is the fact that once you get to a certain point, now your game is to start eliminating cost, right? So if you can do it through automation, you can eliminate positions you need to hire for. Not everything can be done that way, but some can. So eliminate cost, right? Find a way to make the same result cheaper. Find a new provider for your backlinks. Find a content writer that's just as good but charges you less an hour, right? So eliminate your costs. Don't be shady. I mean, pay people a good wage and pay them for the time that they give you, but eliminate your costs. Do it smartly. So
Mohammed has a good question. If you want to bring that one up, Craig, how do you become a business owner with zero capital? You got to fucking work harder, basically.
Yeah.
You work until you have capital. You've got revenue coming in. Go out to, network, build peers in the industry that you want to be in, and then go to them and say, what can I do for you? That's the best way. And then you've got cash flow coming in.
Great point there, Brad. One way that there is I forget what Ryan Holiday calls it, but there's a method that he uses. And what he does is he goes out and he just points out opportunity for people. He helps people, man. He goes out and he says, hey, look, you could optimize right here in your life. Whatever this is, this doesn't have to be SEO. It can be anything you're doing. If you're trying to build a business in any type of situation, any part of your supply chain, you could go and say, hey, look, I see a point where you can make more money right here, and you can start building your trust and your circle of and your network that way.
Yeah, Tony Robbins, for anyone that follows him, the only guy that I've heard of that's taller than Mike, he just says create value, and the money will come in eventually. I mean, not maybe overnight, but if you're creating value for people, like Marco knows his SEO work, so he can charge more, but he's creating massive value for people. We're creating massive value for people if we're, pushing their site up. Like when we worked with the payday company, how much value did we bring to them? And what they paid us was minimal compared to that, but that's fine,
And basically it comes down to, it's like picking up a chick, right? When you're putting your
behind her in the bar, you creep up on her, and then you grab her. Yeah, she gone.
Caveman bad, dude. I got a game for you, by the way. It has a stick in it. So
all right, cool.
That's another note. But it really is when you have confidence and you go to pick up a woman, or if you go to pick up a man if you're a woman, confidence sells.
Or if you go to pick up a man if you're a man, if you go to pick up a woman if you're a woman, let's hit them all.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I pick up men all the time, dude. Mm-hmm. But if you go and you are confident in anything you do in life, then you will have more success. So when you start to show this, you're helping people win, you're making these wins for people, you're building your confidence, you're helping out these people, you're building your network through canvassing, but you also are gaining the knowledge to walk away. When Marco says POFU, I remember one time I walked into a client's office and I said, there's no fucking way we're going to lower this contract. In fact, we have to increase it because it is going to make money. And I was yelling at the client. He was yelling at me. I was telling him, fuck you. And I walked out and I threw up because I thought I lost it, dude. But I knew it was right. And the contract increased that evening. But I had to go through a day of just kind of sucking it up and being ready to be screwed.
Simon, as long as I have a mask on, we're good, I think. Those are the rules, right?
Simon, you need a club though, to do it right.
Yeah.
No. So, confidence.
Yeah, confidence is key. I was actually speaking to a guy offline last week, and he was asking about who you guys were. And he's like, who are these guys? Like, how do you know them and shit like that? And I went, look, they're monsters from, you know, America. They had the NFG Rockstars conference and so on. And he said, you can just tell that these guys know what they're doing with the confidence that they speak with. And I think that even comes across, you know, in videos and stuff like that, that you guys are doing. And that was just, you know, a guy that was asking me a bit about you who had never heard from you. They're just like, there's just an aura of confidence, the way you talk or whatever it's going to be. And that comes across really well. So I think.
So I got everyone fooled.
Yeah. They have no clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
They just talk a fucking good game. But
that's all that matters, right?
But even like what Marco says, having the balls to say to a customer, go fuck yourself, or whatever, you know, these people need us as SEOs as well. And you have to remember that and value yourself. Do not be that guy that just gets beaten with a stick off of the customers and, you know, beaten into depression and, you know, not feeling they can ask for a raise or whatever. Value your skills and your service, because believe you me, there's not a lot of people that are actually good at SEO in the world. There is, you know, worldwide, I probably know of about 100. And that obviously goes on to what Viddy was saying. Like, how do you learn SEO? Because there's so many fake gurus. We've all fell down the trap of listening to someone's bullshit, but we've went away and tested it and just went, that guy's full of shit. And that is something that's so important. Viddy, we've said it time and time again in the show, but you have to test. Don't believe it because Marco said it or Brad or Mike said it. Go away and test it and test that theory. And then from there on in, you will know who to follow. That's the only way you can do it, because there's so many people, professional videos, professional everything, but they talk a lot of shit. And yeah, so test is the only way you're ever going to be able to do that.
I would also add how willing that SEO or that expert, that guru, that ninja is. How open is that person to being questioned, to having their methods questioned? How transparent are they with their methods, with what they do? Because a lot of them are, when you get behind everything, it's just fluff. There's no substance, and that's really easy to point out. If someone can't show you results, then they're just. It's the difference between just being a marketer or being someone who can get results. A marketer is just there to sell you something, and you have to be able to tell the difference whether someone is just selling you something or whether someone wants to help you to succeed. When I set out on this journey where I changed from just the agency to actually helping people get results, I mean, that was my idea. I am going to help people in any way I can to get results. I mean, you can just go and listen to what it is that they're saying, apply it, train, apply, make money. If one of those things are missing, if you can't make money from what they're telling you and you're actually doing it step by step and seeing it all the way through, then that's the obvious test, the test of a prophet, right? Will the prophecy come true? The test of an SEO. Is what the SEO telling you going to work for you? The only way to know is if you see it through all the way to the end.
So it's interesting because Marco, I want you to notice something. It's an equilateral triangle, right? Marco has talked about 3 items that he uses. I talked about also observation, action, and determination. But also someone in there mentioned art. I call it triple T. So just start looking at this like a balance in everything you do, because it's a cycle and it's a balance, just like life.
Can you tell everyone what triple T means, Mike?
Trust, traffic, and theme. Yeah. So triple T is trust, traffic, and theme, right? And Marco, you use art. What did you call it again?
I call it the art of art. Activity, relevance, trust, and authority.
Right.
Trust and authority go together because you can't separate them.
So if you look at it like life is a balance, right? If you don't have unity and you don't have service and you're not self-aware, then you're fucked in life, right? If you don't have balance in your business or in SEO, you're screwed in SEO too, because you're either if you don't act, if you just observe, well, then you're spending money and paying someone else's salary, right? If you observe and then you act and you get a result and then you don't invest into it and be determined to do it, then you're just wasting money testing and you're in that SEO that doesn't make money. So if you don't do all 3 of these things that Mark was talking about, that I'm talking about, you have to have the balance in your business and in SEO, or you will lose money in some aspect of your life and you will not achieve what you need to in your campaigns and in your life, right? So it's extremely important to look at that triangle, right? So
yeah. And it's all about getting the ROI. You've got to look at these things, the balance and getting the value for money, as you said, cutting your costs down. You've got to be able to spend $1,000 and make 5, or spend $100,000 and make 500,000. There's always got to be a positive ROI, regardless of what you're spending. So, yeah, you can't.
I looked at it like arbitrage. That's how I look at it. It's like buying traffic and sending it back out to the same person, right? It's like doing click arbitrage with AdWords arbitrage with Google AdSense arbitrage. You know, if you buy it cheaper and sell it and you make a profit, dude, we're one of the only industries where you get the kind of returns we get. We get freaking insane returns, man. Like our returns in this industry is freaking nutty, dude. People are happy with freaking much less return than we're used to. They don't get 100%. They don't get 1,000%. Not a lot. Yeah, it's not. It's
well,
not
10% return in the market is insane. You know, 20%, you're the best guy that is
exactly
that is in the industry. You know, where like I was saying, you mentioned the example earlier when I was talking about it on, I think it was the NFG webinar. We took and we paid $150. I don't remember for how many GMBs. So we put $150 into the campaign, and that's it. We didn't push them. We didn't do anything. We did our keyword research and our market research ahead of time. And it's not a high paying market. I think it was like $7 up to 27 was the payout, but a majority of the payouts were $7, $6.50, $7. So we put 150 into it. And then month 1, I think we made, and it wasn't a full month, we made 100. And now that campaign is consistently making 250 a month. And we're on track. I just looked this morning in that campaign to hit 250 again. We haven't put anything else back into that campaign. So whatever the hell that ROI is, the payback period within a month, you know, and then ongoing. I haven't calculated the APR on that or annual rate of return, but it's insane. It's like hundreds of percentage points above you know, Wall Street. You know, it's crazy.
I think people get confused, right? I think people get confused in that they're not sure where to invest their time because they get so many different messages. You hear a lot, find your passion, be passionate about something, become passionate. And like, I call that such bullshit. And let me just take a bit of time to explain why. I have a passion. I'm passionate about the charity that I help here in Costa Rica. I'm very passionate about helping, but my passion costs me a lot of money. My passion doesn't make me a penny. I mean, it gives me a great return emotionally, spiritually. In that way, I'm really blessed and I feel really good about it. But feeling good isn't going to put food on the table, right? So be careful how it is that you're going to invest your time. What I tell people, and I'm going to take this from C.T. Fletcher, the great power lifter, is find your magnificent obsession. Find that thing that's going to have you get up in the morning and say, I need this, I want this, and you're going to bed and it's right here and it's drilling there, and until you make it happen, you're not satisfied, and then you want more of it. Whether it's making $1 billion, whether that's your aim, whether it's helping this client make money, which in turn is going to make you money, whatever it is. But the focus should be making money so that you could then feed your passion. Your passion is going to cost you money. Your magnificent obsession is going to help you invest your time in the right way so that you can make money. Guys, if you invest it improperly, it's a good way to go broke. So I just want people to have that. Focus on that.
So there's some questions out there. People are asking more about iframes and Google sites and stuff. And I know Marco could go for hours and hours about this. Dude, I just, where can they find you, man, if they do want to talk to you about that stuff, dude? How can they get in touch with you? How can people that are at?
We have a free SEO group run by Semantic Mastery. You can find me through Semantic Mastery free groups. We run Hump Day Hangouts every Wednesday. We've been doing it for almost 6 years now, man.
Dude, I was going to say, it's been 6 years since we had a conversation. I know you've got like RYS and RYS Reloaded, and that was a conversation 6 years ago. Talk about a magnificent obsession, bro. Like, I could tell that was a magnificent obsession for you, like when we had that conversation 6 freaking years ago, and here we are 6 years later, and you're still, this is why I say this shit works, and it works if you get the basics. 6 years later, same damn shit. Different, but same
thing.
You know? So do we have any time for, there's someone out there, did you see that thing about software, dude? If we don't put it up. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure. Simon made a good point again that came up. Don't forget to add time into your ROI. Hobby businesses and passion come after you make money. That's the last thing I'm going to say today, because 100%, like, I have hobby businesses, but I didn't start with hobby businesses. I started by doing shit that made money. And that's how I started in this process. Is I did use a little bit of like, I want to learn about this, but I only did that with things that I know other people wanted to learn about too. So I could learn what I wanted to learn while I was making money. So I made websites that way is how I got started, right? But don't go down the bullshit life coach. Not all life coaches are bullshit. I'm not saying that. Don't go down the bullshit path of find your passion and change the damn world. Focus on your day-to-day and your family and make money for that.
And make sure that whatever you're doing is providing value for someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Michael has a good question. I know we only have a few minutes left about buying a site on Flippa or whatever. Just make sure you do your due diligence, because you can get screwed hard on Flippa and a site like that. Empire Flippers is another one that you can check out. I know some people that have sold sites on there, and they get a good multiple on there because he's like, man, I would have rather gone through a freaking colonoscopy than go through all this financial stuff, on Empire Flipper. So I know if you go to Empire Flippers, and I have no association with those guys, then they make them do their due diligence. Just make sure that you know the numbers are going to work out. Typically, by the time I buy something off of a site like that, I could have done it for a lot cheaper myself, or had the team do it. So the ROI is not there. The ROI is already, the multiple's already baked in. So that's why I don't typically buy stuff off of Flippa. And I know the best return that I get is getting GMBs and building out these local lead gen sites and pushing those. Phone calls are money. And again, back to the providing massive value. You're providing massive value to the end customer who's buying the leads. And if you're going through a network, of course, there's going to be value there. And they will bend over backwards. I've had my affiliate managers reach out to me and be like, hey, can we have a call like every 2 weeks or every month? I need to make sure you're taken care of because you're sending so many calls through now, and high-end calls, high-end personal injury calls and stuff like that. They'll eat your shit after a certain point if you provide them with enough value.
Yeah, I would, if you have money to invest, really sit down and start. Don't use this pro and con method, but get someone to argue the opposite side for you of everything you're thinking about doing. Honestly, Michael, if you're interested in that and how to make that damn decision on what to invest in, just get a hold of me on freaking Skype at Michael_Pierce1, and I'll freaking tell you what I think about it. I would recommend jumping on Hump Day Hangouts, people. Marco and everyone over there does a damn good job of what they do. So if you're looking for somebody that you want to kind of pay attention to, I would absolutely recommend that to my family if they wanted to learn SEO, because I don't like teaching my family.
And we had a question, where do you buy Dnbs? Just cover that before we hop off. I can get my own right now, but it's a pain in the ass. So I would just go out and start looking for people, start asking groups who can sell me GMBs, and don't order a shit ton right off the bat.
Hit me up in
and you're going to need more than one supplier.
Yeah.
Hit me up in any of our groups, because we're able to get them right now. I don't know how long that's going to stay around. You know how that goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And for
different
you guys,
open.
we have an offer for our store for you group that we set up. Craig, maybe later on I can contact you in Facebook and give that to you so that you can give. We made you a really good discount, 45% off anything in the store. So
is it a code that he can use?
No, it's not a code. It's actually I can just hit you. I'll send you the page. We set up a page for you guys, and we gave you a recurring also. So a one-time and a recurring.
Yeah, send the link over because I can add it to the bottom of this video because people do watch this all throughout the week or whatever. So, and I can share that shit on Facebook and all that kind of stuff as well. And yeah, do that.
Perfect.
Thank you for coming on, Marco. Thanks for your time, dude. I appreciate it. And everyone in the audience, thank you for the time today.
Thanks, everyone.
Catch you all again next week.
See you next week.
See you later.